the mountains, beyond the winding rivers and deep valleys, an ancient remedy has emerged. A gift of the earth, renowned throughout history, is offering a fresh new approach to an age-old issue and bringing us ways to improve our sleep. From the Latin velere, meaning to be well, it's time to welcome pure and potent valerian essential oil. Steam distilled from the roots of the valerian plant, this powerful natural solution has a unique chemistry that elicits a deep sense of calm. Enhance your sleep routine by diffusing its grounding and earthy aromas, or apply it topically with a carrier oil to create a warm and tranquil bedtime environment. Accentuate the effects by pairing with green mandarin, wild orange, lavender, or rosemary. Enjoy valerian essential oil every day and night.
All right, let's chat about creating routines for better sleep. So our culture has taught us that sleep's unimportant, right? We can sleep when we're dead, that kind of thing. Today I want to spend some time actually talking about why sleep is so important and the things that impact it. All right.
Now, sleepy time. Mwah.
Where's Floppy?
Oh, here she is.
Floppy!
Mustn't forget Floppy.
We all love Bluey. Okay, so let's have a talk about sleep and the impacts on our body. So what I want you to know is that sleep has a major impact on our health and our quality of life. So sleep helps our brain make new memories and actually recall old ones. Sleep here clears out the toxic protein from our brain. It's called beta amyloid, and if otherwise it builds up in our brains and it can actually interfere with cognitive function. I'm sure there are a few parents in the room with young children, and even after a rough night, you can feel that cognitive impairment. My background is nursing, and I've done 12 years of shift work and numerous night shifts, and I can tell you, after 4 days of night shifts and actually having to stay awake all night, the cognitive impairment is real. So it actually impacts our reproductive system and the release of hormones in our bodies. Now, the actual newest research shows that it affects male fertility the most, and actually sperm quality and quantity. So guys, this is just as important for you. It actually literally deteriorates our mental and our physiological performance. So after about 16 hours of staying awake, drastically decreases, and it affects our appetite and our metabolism. We need to manage our stress. So most sleep issues are stress induced, and they estimate about 70% of problems sleeping are related to psychological issues. So 15% are environmental, so maybe it's the temperature of your room, the light conditions, all of that kind of thing. And 15% are actually medical diagnoses. But 70%, that's massive. So increased cortisol levels mean that your melatonin level, which is your sleep hormone, isn't able to rise as it should to promote that restful sleep. So we're constantly inundated with stimuli that we have to kind of respond to in some capacity. So this is part of how we, why we get stressed. Even positive experiences, things like marriage, friends, education, can still be stressful. In addition to the impacts that I just talked about, we also know that lack of sleep impacts our immune function, our cardiovascular health, and the life cycle of cells in our bodies. So when we're looking at this, sleep is important to the function of our immune system. We get a 70% reduction in our natural killer cells. That's massive. And just as an FYI, our Shinrin Yoku blend is actually what is helping to support our natural killer cells. Sleep impacts something called apoptosis. Now that is, it's kind of programmed cell death, and we want it working well. We want healthy cell death and cell life cycles. Sleep is key for cardiovascular health, your circadian rhythms. Every night when you sleep, they need a reboot, and sleep helps that. Research suggests that those who slept 6 hours a night had much healthier hearts, which is incredible. Now, let's have a chat about our sleep cycle. REM sleep, I think you will have all heard about it. It stands for rapid eye movement, and it's our dream time sleep. So when we are in REM sleep, our frontal cortex actually goes dormant, and they have shown, recent experiments reveal that dreams help us process our emotions. So during our deep dream state, we don't actually revisit events of the day, we actually process our emotions. So our emotions tied to those events, which is amazing. So let's go through the 4 different stages of sleep. First stage is falling asleep. So this is light sleep. You might know the sensation of, having your eyes closed, drifting off, but still being aware, somewhat aware of what's happening around you, the dog moving, the fan whirling, kids in the room, that kind of thing. The second stage is when your heart rate slows. Your body temperature starts to drop, almost as if your body is kind of moving into this deep sense of relaxation. Stage 3 is where we experience deep sleep. This is also where our growth hormone starts to become produced. So this is particularly important for our kids. Stage 4 is when REM sleep comes in. We've already talked about this. So it's really important for us to be going through all 4 of these cycles per night. So what happens to our sleep as we age? So does this affect our sleep, or how much is needed, right? Babies sleep the most, we know this. So 16 hours a day from when they're born, and then going up to 1 year, around about 12 hours a day. Not surprising to most of us with kids, is the fact that babies are not born with a proper circadian rhythm. So it kicks in around about 3 to 6 months after they're born. And about 50% of our newborns' sleep is actually REM sleep. So school-age children typically settle into a restful 10 to 11 hours sleep a night. In 10 years, however, their brain actually starts stretching, reorganizing, maturing, and so sleep patterns change again. And then our adults, we would love to be getting 7 to 8. Doesn't always happen, let's be real. And unfortunately, our deep sleep states actually lessen. Okay. All right. There is a study in Finland, and it actually indicates that people who are sleeping less than 8 hours a night are 21 to 26% more likely to die from any cause than those who slept more than 8 hours. That's a big percentage, guys. As a matter of fact, sleep deprivation in mice actually kills them faster than starvation. I know. So sleeplessness can significantly affect our cardiovascular system. So one study in Japan actually showed that those who slept fewer than 6 hours were 4 to 5 times more likely to experience cardiac arrests than those who got more sleep. So it's pretty profound. So this is just a picture of what it looks like when we go to sleep. All of these construction workers, the sanitation workers, the policemen, they all go into repair mode. So if we are not prioritising our sleep, our bodies are going to age faster, and all of these important things that happen when we sleep don't get done effectively and efficiently. So emotional health is very tightly related to our sleep, and I think we all know this. We have all experienced feeling, crabby, negative, from not getting enough sleep. But prolonged sleeplessness can lead to deeper emotional challenges. So in one experiment, people with poor sleep repeatedly misread facial expressions. So they actually identified angry faces as fearful instead. Other studies have shown that people who need more sleep have an overactive amygdala that kind of yanks them back and forth between positive and negative. And in fact, people who report difficulty sleeping are 4 times more likely to develop major emotional challenges than those who don't. So, what are some signs that we're getting to that breaking point? Sometimes they're actually really subtle. If you frequently find yourself, feeling frazzled and overwhelmed, it's time to take some action. Get that nervous system back into balance. You can protect yourself and you can improve, how you think and how you feel by really learning to recognise those signs and those symptoms of chronic stress and taking steps to reduce those harmful effects. Now, this is an incredible study that was done in the US. What they did was they implemented the sleep solution kit that we have with these people, and look at these results. So the light blue is our before the sleep system and our dark blue is after. I mean, honestly, look at those results. Have a look at peace and calm. Look at those numbers, significant increases there. So that's looking at quality of life. This one here is how life got easier. So column 1 is concentration. So look at those incredible, the blue one, no difficulty afterwards, just absolutely skyrocketed. So these are really important markers. We know that the sleep system works for people. One of the most interesting parts of the clinical study that they did actually looked at the lavender peace sleep system and how it impacted people on a level of their DNA. Now this is called epigenetics. So this is where you look at various environmental and lifestyle factors and how they influence the actual expression of your genes. So in this case, we're comparing the epigenetic patterns of trial participants with this whole library of other genes, and we see that the sleep system affected aging. Each of us has a chronological age, right? So that's the amount of time that we've been alive. We also have something called a biological age. So your biological age is kind of like the wear and tear on our systems. So if our biological age is less than our chronological age, we're more likely to be really vibrant and healthy in our bodies. My notes are not working, so I'm gonna ad lib. So you can see on the right-hand column there, you've got significant decreases in your blood age markers, your brain age markers, there we go, inflammatory response, immune markers, metabolic age, all of those markers are significantly lower than the chronological age, which is, it's phenomenal. This woman was 40 and all of those are less. All right, this is just a beautiful quote that she put in. It is a common experience that a problem difficult at night is resolved in the morning after the committee of sleep has worked on it. Beautiful. So let's have a chat about some tips for a good night's sleep. So what are we going to do about sleep? There are normal activities that can actually help us get a good night's sleep. Eat whole foods and limit sugar. I feel like we all know that. Sleep hygiene. So this comes into your environmental sleep, things that are going on in your actual bedroom. This can be the quality of your mattress. Are you sleeping on a mattress that is, full of VOCs? Your bedding. Does your bedding have, is it sprayed with flame retardants? It can also include your actual environment itself, the temperature of the room, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but also noise pollution, light pollution, all of that piece. A little bit about napping. If you're going to do it briefly, and if you can eliminate it completely, you will notice that your nighttime sleeping does improve. Create a bedtime routine. This is really important. And I work a lot with people around establishing soothing bedtime routines. And this can be whatever lights you up. It might be, reading a book, it might be meditation, it might be taking a bath. Whatever it is to you that is going to signal to your brain that it's time to unwind. Go to bed and arise at the same time every day, even on the weekends. This is really, really important for establishing a strong circadian rhythm. Use your bedroom for sleeping only. We don't want to be watching TV in bed. We definitely do not want to be working in bed on the laptop. Our brain needs to associate our bedroom with sleep. We want to avoid caffeine 6 to 8 hours before bedtime. I usually talk to my clients about, 2 p.m. being the last time that you have a coffee, because it can actually take 24 hours to leave our system. Caffeine has a 6-hour half-life. It actually also blocks something called adenosine, which is our sleep hormone that kind of builds up during the day. We also want to avoid alcohol. Now, alcohol can make you drowsy at the start, but it can actually break up your sleep later. We want to avoid eating kind of large, spicy meals before bedtime. Now, this is obviously going to be quite irritating for the gut, but we also, when it's time to sleep, we don't want to be activating all of those digestive enzymes and having processes kick into gear when we're wanting our brain to just unwind. And you're going to process those calories differently while sleeping than you did awake. Exercise regularly. People who exercise on a regular basis sleep better than those that don't. It's just a fact. Now, however, workouts within about an hour of bedtime can make your mind and your body too stimulated. So if you're doing it later in the evening, just keep it a beautiful restorative movement. Exposing yourself to bright lights in the morning. Now, this is allowing the reset of your circadian rhythm, your body clock. So allow yourself to experience the evening when the sun is going down and start your day with bright lights. If you can, as Adam was talking about, get out, put your feet on the ground and ground yourself at the same time as getting that sunshine on your eyeballs. Really, really important. It's allowing your brain to realize less light and signal that melatonin rise. But kind of sounds counterintuitive, but when we get that sunshine on our eyes in the morning, it's actually allowing more melatonin release in the evenings. What have we got else? Okay, let's talk about the temperature of our room, keeping our room space cool. Now, the research actually shows that if we sleep between 15 to 19 degrees Celsius, that is when it's kind of triggering our body to sleep. So I find that really interesting. So if you are if your room does get hot at night, maybe invest in a fan or open a window slightly, but definitely cooler temperature if you can. Now, if you can't sleep, get up. Okay, if you happen to fall asleep, you're going to be lying for 20 minutes. Get out of bed, do something else in low light. Read a book, meditate, whatever it is, listen to some soothing music, but don't just lie there for hours and hours on end. All right, now this is Dr. Nicole's beautiful favourite sleep routine. We obviously have the best sleep tools in our arsenal. Few of her favourites: lavender oil, the bottom of her feet. I can attest to that. That is my daughter's kind of sleep cue. They have a really, really strong subconscious association now with lavender peace, which works to my advantage on many a night. Diffusing your lavender peace, restful blend. Maybe you've made a spritz for your pillow, a little bit of a linen mist. Copaiba, don't forget good old Copaiba, really beautiful sleep oil on the back, on the soles of your feet, maybe some vetiver again. Be using our valerian. A warm tea, beautiful chamomile tea perhaps, add a drop of essential oil to that as well. Cool fan, we've just talked about, she uses white noise, that's not for me, but definitely be putting away your electronics. Pull out a book, really, really beautiful routine. So how can we actually help someone or yourself who has trouble falling asleep, right? Because it's not always the same for every person. Let's say you want to share doTERRA with someone and they've come to you with a specific sleep concern. Let's talk through some scenarios of things that you can suggest. First one is trouble falling asleep. Some things you might want to chat to this person about is the sleep hygiene. So this is the environment, right? Chat to them about what their bedroom looks like. Maybe incorporating some kind of meditation, some emotional processing before bed. That might look like downloading a meditation app, might be journaling before bed, those kinds of things. Incorporating some beautiful aroma touch, lavender peace, stick, obviously, really, really supportive for that actual falling asleep process. Scenario 2 is nighttime waking. So for a lot of people, they can fall asleep fine, but they're waking up at night. Make sure that your temperature in your room is cool. So we've already talked about this, 16 to 20 degrees is ideal. If someone is getting up to go to the toilet multiple times a night, think about tapering off that fluid intake earlier in the day. Dark, quiet, ideal, mood, lighting, and have a think about, incorporating some of those essential oils as well. Most of our diffusers actually have an intermittent function where they pump out essential oils all night in a 5 on, 5 off. Research has actually shown that intermittent diffusion is as effective as continuous diffusion. So grab your diffuser, put something on all night so there's just that continuous aromatic trigger for your brain. Scenario 3 is waking tired. Okay, so you may meet someone who feels like they sleep really well, but they're waking up tired. So what can you recommend? If they have a smartwatch, you can actually analyze the time spent in each phase of sleep. Those 4 phases that we talked about. See if there's any patterns and how long they spend in each stage, how many cycles they go through per night. Recommend a additional sleep before midnight. So research actually shows us that the sleep that we get before midnight is more restorative to our bodies. So ask them when they go to bed for one. Check physical factors, your mattress, your pillow, the sheets, room temperature. Encourage exposure to bright lights in the morning. We've talked about that. Couple that with some grounding practices to support as well, and obviously essential oils for invigorating in the morning. My favourite is, some peppermint and lemon in the diffuser in the morning. It wakes up the whole family and it really sets the tone for the day. Scenario 4 is for high stress. We know that sleep and stress are inextricably tied. So let's recommend some support for those individuals to get a better night's sleep. So adaptive, wonderful system to our lavender piece. We can minimize stress during the day and likely get a better sleep. So meditation, a really great way to keep stress from building up during the day. 5 minutes, twice a day is all you really need. Reduce stress, improve focus, attention, lower blood pressure, enhance emotional health, manage pain, boost immune system, lots of beautiful benefits. Low intensity exercise. So when you're stressed, when those stress hormones are high, we don't really want to be adding on anything else that's going to increase that stress. Things like high intensity interval training and those kinds of things. So we want to be doing beautiful restorative movement practices like Jan and Chantal were talking about. Bedtime routines. No electronics, guys. Get the technology out of the bedroom. If you can, charge your phone on the opposite side of the room, and that works to obviously, get those harmful EMFs away from your head. But it also acts like, I guess, a little bit of an alarm clock to get you out of bed to go and turn your phone off. What else have we got here? Microbiome support. Let's not forget about one of the most crucial systems of our body, our gut microbiome, right? Stress, toxic for our system. And when it's not functioning, no other body system is going to be functioning well either. Eating a whole food diet, supplementing with our beautiful PB Assist can help our microbiome function at its best, which is in turn going to help us manage our stress and sleep. Last one today, guys. Poor sleep quality. So you may know someone who seems to sleep a lot, but perhaps the quality of sleep isn't great and they don't feel their best. You may have them consider how much sleep do they actually get before midnight. Again, remembering this is our most restorative sleep. Early to bed, early to rise, best pattern if you can do it. So following the cycles of the natural light. Our deepest and best sleep is before midnight, so try shifting those times. Have a think about how nutrition can actually manifest in poor sleep. So suggesting the lifelong vitality supplements, whole food diet, all of that piece. Check the sleep environment. We've talked about this a lot. Eliminating those noise pollution, light pollution, distractions, poor quality sleeping things. Maybe it's the sheets, the pajamas, all of that piece. Now, I want to talk a little bit more to the electromagnetic radiation. Now, this is your phone charger. Are you charging it next to your bed? Are you living, right next to power lines? Is there a large TV on the opposite side of the wall, or even in your bedroom? Our bodies respond to electromagnetic radiation, and it can actually be really disruptive to our sleep. Okay, so try as best you can to move the electronics away from your sleeping space. And detoxification. So this is relying on things like our citrus oils, our beautiful Oceania oils, for helping our body detox through the night so that we are, getting a deeper quality of sleep. Okay, that was a lot of information. What are some action items that you're going to take away today to have a better night's sleep right away? Have a think. I would suggest choosing one thing to implement so that it becomes a lot more obtainable and sustainable for you, okay? And please grab your convention kit, incorporate that beautiful lavender piece stick, and try it for a month. I would suggest before you implement it, journal. Be honest with yourself. How is your sleep? Do it for a month and then re-journal, and just take assessment of that. And that is all. Thank you so much, guys.
Please welcome to the